As college students, we are working so hard and every day to reach our goals and aspirations. And teachers help us along the way by teaching us everything that they know about that career field, whether it's a doctor, an educator, a lawyer, an entrepreneur, or an engineer. They're helping us reach our dream jobs. And once you get your dream job, what do? Do you sit there comfortable in your position and just cruise along for the next couple of years? Or do you take action and you take risks and leaps to get you ahead in your company, to get you a higher position, a promotion? Today I'm going to be talking to you about forgiveness and permission. I'm going to encourage you why you should ask for forgiveness rather than permission, and strategies to help guide you through this process. And I'm going to tell you how and why this process actually works. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a camp counselor so bad for this one camp. I heard amazing things from teachers and parents of students, saying how wonderful this camp was and the students loved it. So I get there, and the first week I realized that this isn't everything that it was chalked up to be. And I was disappointed. I wasn't having fun with the students. This is not how I imagined to plan my summer. Well, the second weekend I woke up one morning and I thought, this has to change. There needs to be change. So I go in one early morning and I rearrange the class schedule for the day. And I work out the kinks and I added in a few new activities. And that day, the kids had the best day since the camp started. And we stuck with my method for a couple more days, a couple more weeks, until eventually it became routine. The camp counselors noticed how much effort and energy I was putting into this, and it motivated them to do the same. They wanted to be active. They just didn't have the right leader. That morning, I took a leadership position. I took a risk to jump into the leadership role that the previous head counselor was not taking her responsibility seriously. So by taking this risk, I had to ask for forgiveness in the end because I snatched the girl's position. Grace Hopper said that it is easier to ask for forgiveness rather than permission, and she's right. Multiple people have quoted her, and Quote Investigator lists all the activists and influencers and people who have become famous in leading organizations and businesses. It quotes them in all their e-journals and articles that say this quote. They are using her words and following her ideals because she's right. These words reign true. She knew what she was saying. She was very influential at the time because it was 1966 when she was saying this. And women didn't have a lot of control over anything. And for her to say this and stick, that's amazing. Barack Obama, the former US president, actually quoted her in one of his speeches. One of the most influential people at that time, the president, quoted her. Do you think that the president got to be where he was without taking risks? You think he just sat back and waited to become president? He was taking risks and asking for forgiveness along the way throughout this whole process. And that's what we need to do. We need to step up. I know it's hard stepping out and taking risks, especially when you don't know if you're going to get bad consequences at the end or good consequences. Well, an article by Heidi Coquille says that these 7 questions are questions that you should ask yourself before making that leap. She is a coach for employees who strive to be their best, and there's a bunch of self-help books and TED Talks about taking risks. And she just puts it into a blog saying, what am I really hoping to achieve with my project? What is motivating me to act right now? How do you feel about getting ahead and taking action without permission? What has your boss previously said no to? Which relationships will be impacted by my decision? And after you do this, what is the next step in your plan? How much time and energy will you need to spend asking for forgiveness? And is it worth it? She's right. If you're spending loads of time groveling for forgiveness, is it worth it? You need to make sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. This is a very important process for the risk-taking and asking for forgiveness. The Zygist says it is a cultural model. It's a freedom to be able to ask for forgiveness rather than permission. But the responsibility behind that is if you mess up, you take responsibility and you sweat the small things. You have to make sure that there's no cracks in your plan. And throughout this entire period of you taking a risk, you need to own it. You need to make sure that this is 100% what you believe in. This article also says the next time you're wondering whether or not to take a risk or that next step to move forward in whatever you're doing, just do it. That's what Nike would say. And most older people say that their regrets consist of things that they didn't do rather than things they did. Just do it and worry about the niceties later. What all is said and done, raise your glass to Amazing Grace Hopper. And every source, every article, every journal is saying, if you don't take a risk, where are you going to be? Do you want to get ahead in whatever you're doing? Do you want to be a boss or do you want to be a worker? Do you want to be a leader or do you want to be a follower? I encourage everyone to take a risk in whatever they're doing, especially in education. You want to get farther. You want to enhance yourself. Today I have talked to you about why risk-taking is important and why you should do it. I have talked to you about the methods and strategies and questions that you should ask yourself while taking risks. And I have told you why this works.